Today, we're diving into something a little different. This isn't about some big, broad study or a complicated theory. Nope, this is about one person's incredibly personal testimonial, a profound journey, told in her own words.
Let's just start right at the end with this quote from Tanya Hutchins. It's a pretty remarkable thing to say, and it immediately makes you wonder, right, after a life of struggle, how on earth did she get to this point?
So this is Tanya's story. She's a 42-year-old woman who was diagnosed with schizophrenia. We're going to walk through her experience, the decades of difficulty, and then the incredible shift she talks about, all based on her own personal account. To really feel the impact of the transformation Tanya describes, first, we've got to understand what her before looked like. And for Tanya, before wasn't just a rough patch. We're talking about nearly 30 years. For Tanya, schizophrenia wasn't some term on a medical chart. It was her daily lived reality. She describes having hallucinations, hearing voices, dealing with delusions as just part of her everyday life.
And wow, it wasn't just schizophrenia. Tanya reports a whole constellation of other conditions she was living with. Bipolar disorder, with those extreme highs followed by just crushing depression. A debilitating anxiety phobia, so bad it would lead to hyperventilation. And the result of all that? Well, social isolation. She even describes these weird physical things happening, like unexplained lumps showing up on her hands.
This timeline just highlights the sheer length of her battle. It started in infancy, grand mal seizures when she was just 14 months old. Then, after a really traumatic event as a teenager, she gets her schizophrenia diagnosis and lives with these symptoms for over 3 decades, right up until the change she describes at age 42.
But within this long struggle, Tanya noticed something really unusual. A fascinating connection between her symptoms and her environment that she just couldn't quite explain. She reported this really peculiar pattern. When the electricity was on in her home, the voices and hallucinations would come back. But if the power went out, they would just disappear. It was this strange correlation she noticed over the years, one that just deepened the mystery of her condition for her.
So what happened at age 42 that changed everything? Well, this brings us to what Tanya herself identifies as the turning point in her story.
The catalyst for this huge shift, according to Tanya, was when she started taking a broad-spectrum micronutrient formula, which she just calls her vitamins. And the speed of the change she reports is just remarkable. At the time she shared this account, she had only been taking this formula for about 2 months. Just 2 months. So let's explore the after, this new reality Tanya describes, which just stands in such stark contrast to the decades of struggle she went through. Her own words really capture the shift she felt. Coming from someone who lived with these symptoms for most of her life, that statement is just startling in its clarity. From constant voices and hallucinations to having a really clear head. From severe depression and bipolar symptoms to feeling she can stay happy now. And from debilitating anxiety to saying, I don't suffer from anxiety no more. The contrast she describes it's just night and day. And the changes she reports are so comprehensive. It's not just one thing. Her head feels clear, the depression has lifted, the stress and anxiety have stopped. She's also socializing more comfortably and even says that those physical lumps on her hands are disappearing. And that's a key part of her new reality, right? Rejoining the world. After years of feeling deeply uncomfortable around people, she says she's now seeking out social connection again. So, what does all of this mean for her personally? Let's look at how Tanya now sees her own life and her future. This simple exchange from her interview just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that feeling of reclaiming a life that for so long was defined and dominated by illness. After decades of what she describes as intense suffering, Tanya feels that her life is, in a very real way, just beginning. It's a story of hope and renewal after a long, dark period. And that brings us to our final thought. Now, it's really important to remember that this is one person's anecdotal experience
not a clinical study. Her story is a testament to her personal journey. And it leaves us with a pretty profound question to think about. What does it truly mean to get your life back?